Welcome back, everyone, to the newest episode of Pocho Sports. Today, we're going to go ahead and discuss the Mexican national soccer team. As you all know, the Mexican soccer national team has had several bumps in their journey recently. They played against the United States a couple days ago on March 24th, and once again, failure was evident. They lost 2-0. My take on that game was, to be honest, I don't know what's going on. I think the team lacks leadership. I think the team lacks, I'm just going to say, they lack balls. They lack players who want to go out there and fight and have pride. And you know what? It's very sad for me to watch as a proud Mexican American. I'm not Mexican. I wasn't born in Mexico, but as a proud Mexican American, like it's frustrating to watch and embarrassing, to be honest with you guys. Like just seeing them go out on the pitch, looking at their faces, bro. It's a disgrace, man. And I'm sick and tired of losing. I'm sick and tired of losing. And I think this team needs to rebuild. They have some pieces I like. Edson Alvarez in the middle. Um, and I still have some faith in Chucky Lozano. I know he's a little bit past his prime, but I still got faith in the guy. And other than that, again, just this team it's fallen to a new low in my opinion. And I'd like to go ahead and hear your guys' opinions and see what you guys think about this. Not only the game, but the Mexican team in general. Like, what is the fate of this team moving forward? And I just want to know if you guys feel the same way I do. Go ahead and take it away.
I'm going to say Mexico's problem is not, I don't know how to explain this or how does this make sense, but Mexico's problem right now, it's not the coach, it's not the players. There's certain players that are not right for the national team, obviously, but I think the problem right now is the federation. The federation is the problem. The federation wants specific players for them to represent the national team, and that's what's hurting Mexico. It's been hurting Mexico for the longest time. The federation has to always intervene with whatever coach comes in and just plummets the Mexico national team. Here's a stat that's kind of crazy. Obviously, Mexico before this was the dominant in CONCACAF. Mexico has not beaten the United States. It was July 7th, 2019, the last time Mexico won. That says a lot. After that, September 6th, 2019. Actually, excuse me. It was September 6th that they beat them. My bad. After that, they lost 3-2. June 6th. August 1, 2021, lost 1-0. November 12th, 2021, 2-0. Tied March 24th. Tied April 19th, 1-1. That was just a friendly. And then they lost in the Nations playoff thing, whatever it's called, 3-0. And then, obviously, 2-0. So, again, it comes to show the Federation has a lot to do with this Mexico national team. And I'll tell you guys this. If Mexico, or if they're going to take that squad to the Copa America and future tournaments, they're not going to win anything. They're not going to go past the group stage. It's really, really, really tough to see Mexico losing against a big opponent in the United States. The U.S. is ranked higher in the FIFA rankings. They are 13 and Mexico's 15. Obviously, 2 spots, but still, something needs to change. The Federation needs to let the coach do what the coach does best, and is that coach the team, because that's what's ruining Mexico. That's just my opinion and the way I see it. Ochoa needs to go. I don't know if you guys can agree with me. Ochoa just needs to go.
He's way too old. He's just not there anymore.
He's been having great World Cups. Don't get me wrong. He was a great keeper for Mexico, but it's just, you need to go. You just want that first goal. Okay, it's kind of tough to see. Obviously, we're not there at his angle, but like, he could have blocked that. He literally tipped it and could have blocked that.
Are you talking about the first goal from Tyler Adams?
Yes, first goal, he could have blocked that.
Bro, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
I told you, Daddy. I told you.
Hold on.
And that's coming from a Mexico fan. Like I think Tyler Adams hit that ball perfect, and there's nothing Ochoa could have done on that play.
I'm not gonna disrespect Tyler Adams' goal. Well, that was an amazing goal. That was
it was a banger for sure.
It was a banger for sure. All that. I'm not gonna take away his great goal. But here's the thing:
One last thing, Danny. One last thing. I'm not an Ochoa fan. Just to make that clear, I'm not a fan of the guy.
The thing is, look, I know you may disagree with me and whatnot, but the thing is, if he reacts tiny bit earlier, he blocks that. 100% he blocks that. Second goal. He's literally ready. I don't know if you saw, there's a certain angle when they scored, and then after they're showing certain angles. He literally hops and is ready for the shot and gets beaten first post. You should never get beaten your first post. That's a goalie rule. I'm sure, Josh, you played goalie for a bit. You should never be beaten your first post. That's just me. I think both goals rely on Ochoa, and that's what cost him possibly the game. That's just me. That's the way I saw it. There are certain players that Jimmy Lozano should have not started. This game was for Quiñones to start. Henry Martinez should have not played. Antuna should have not played. Santi Jimenez should have been in there. And again, Chavez kind of in the midfield. Edson Alvarez La Mancha was amazing. I thought he was playing his heart out. In my opinion, there's obviously certain mistakes he made, but I thought Chavez was not playing well. I thought he was lost that game.
What about Henry Martin?
What did he do? What did he do?
Exactly. He didn't do anything.
He didn't do shit.
Ochoa got more touches than he did.
So, for sure. They should have played Santi in the beginning at the starting 11. I don't know why Henry Martin is still in the fucking starting striker, bro. He didn't do shit. Did you see that miss that he had with his left foot? And it just completely went towards the left of the goal into the stands. It wasn't even on target, bro. It was just, how are you a striker and you're not you can't finish those chances? There's a lot of moments where he was just not. I mean, we know this. He's fucking trash. When you have a player like Santi, it confuses me why you would choose Henry Martin over Santi.
Well, sorry to cut you off, but people have argued that Santi Jimenez is not a selección player. He's more of a club player, which, I mean, I do kind of see it, but then again, it comes down to confidence. You're not starting him. Obviously, he's a lack confidence right now. Yeah. You're not starting him. So he's not going to be showing up as much.
But even when he came in, and even though it was late, you saw presence. You saw him playing the striker, bro. He
saw Mexico was pushing more.
Yeah, and he was getting the ball a lot, and he was trying to get something going. And with the time that he had, I think he did the best that he could, and he did get a higher rating than Henry Martin, and this was Santi got a 4.0 compared to Martin, which was fucking 2.1. So that little time that he had, he was still able to create some chances and at least try to get some shit going. But as far as Ochoa, he's 38 years old. He has done a lot for the Mexican team. I think every Mexican fan, appreciates him and just loves what he has done for the team throughout all these years. But I feel like it's time for him just to, just retire from the Mexican national team. And he's a free agent currently, if I'm not wrong.
That was breaking news this week.
Yeah. So, and this is the 26th of this month, of March. So this is current. And, as far as Ochoa, he's got to go. We got to get someone else in. What's that other goalkeeper? Malgon. Yeah. That guy, he's got to slide in there. We got to give other players a chance. We gotta move away from the fucking, from the veterans, bro. It's just not working. The Mexican national team they just need to rebuild, bro. I think at this point they can't even beat a fucking Sunday League team. There's no way. They played horrible. They played embarrassing, bro. And you can even hear towards the end of the match how even the Mexican fans, bro, were saying the P word to Mexican players whenever they would kick the ball to, just kind of voicing their frustration. And
just to add on to that point, I was telling my dad about that. I'm like, in the history of me watching Mexican soccer games, I have never heard them say that chant you're referring to a Mexican player.
Yeah.
Just let that stick. Look at the low. That is a disgrace, man.
Yeah.
It's all time low.
Yeah.
And going back to the keepers that they also have Carlos Acevedo Lopez, who plays for Santos, and he has reflexes for days. My man has hops. But again, it comes down to the federation and what the federation wants. So that's why another thing that kind of got to me, and it comes more of a tactic-wise. Why are they trying to play kickball? United States have tall defenders.
Yeah.
They're not going to win
Yeah.
at all.
Mhm.
It's not going to happen. And the coach from the United States already knows how Mexico plays. And I think that was another reason why they lost. Because Brett, what's the coach's name from the United States? I forgot his last name. I can't pronounce it.
It's Greg Berhalter.
Greg, sorry, but I said Brett. Greg, him, exactly. He knows how Mexico plays. So that was another factor. It's just
you saw the way
knows how they played. That's why they opened up the game, and that's how U.S. was attacking. And another thing, Mexico, when they grabbed the ball, they were just kickball, up in the air. You ain't gonna win it. You're just not.
Especially with Henry Martin up top, bro. There's no way. Like, it's stupid. I saw the exact same thing that you did, Danny, when it came to that. Whenever U.S. was on the attack and then Mexico got possession of the ball, what would Mexico do? They would just lob it up. They'd pass, or maybe Mexico would actually have possession of the ball. They would kick it back to Ochoa, and then Ochoa would just chuck it up. And it's like, why are you doing that when the majority of your team is very short compared to the U.S. team? And especially your strikers. Lozano's not going to get that. Henry Martin is not going to get that.
By the way, Henry Martin, sorry, he is 5'5". Honestly, he's going to be a center back.
No, man, and it's like Antuna too. He's not gonna fucking get. We don't have forwards that are tall like that. The only one I think we would have, and we have an advantage there, would be Santi. But even then, it's just it's stupid how their play style is. They're doing shit that a U11, U12 team does whenever you're starting out in league teams. Like, kick the ball out, And just Mexico, it's sloppy shit, dude. There was a lot of times too where even passing, man, they would struggle. Like, a pass would just go way too much. It had too much power. It would just go way too much to the left or right, or it was just stupid, dude. It was one of the worst games that I've seen, and I don't know how you guys felt about that one, but it was embarrassing how they played, and I think the majority of Mexican fans felt that way. I'm not gonna say there was more fights than usual, but I mean, because that's always a Mexican thing, right? But there's a lot of fights in these Mexican games. But yeah, dude, just as far as how the ambience was, and just with the things that were being said by the fans in that game, you can just tell how fucking full of shit like the federation is, and how much we've experienced. And I think we just need a fucking rebuild, dude. We just need to get this shit fixed ASAP.
At the end of the day, it's how Carlos has been saying, which I hate to say this, but he's right. It's business. All the federation want is money. That's what they want. And who's going to bring in money? Ochoa, sadly.
And not only that, because, and Henry Martin too, because he plays for America, which is a marketable team.
Sadly, you're right, but it's just you can't have those type of players if you want to succeed. I will say Mexico is lucky that the World Cup is here in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. If it wasn't, then I don't even think they would qualify. And let's be real, who brings the most money when it comes to a World Cup?
Mexico's one of them.
Yeah, Mexico. Mexico fans. Mexico is one of those big teams that brings money to the World Cup. Now, if Mexico doesn't go, what do you think is going to happen? Sponsorships are not really. Obviously, they still have Adidas because that's a big sponsorship. They're sponsored by the World Cup, but it's like other sponsorships. They're just not going to be invested because they don't have Mexico going to the World Cup, and it's facts. At the end of the day, it comes down to business. Mexico, they need to change that. The Federation needs to stay out of it. They need to stay out of it and let the coach come in and coach this team. Because there was one coach, Bielsa, who literally came in. He wanted the Mexico national team. He told the Federation, this is the players I want. These are the tactics I want to do. The Federation said no. Well, he said, fuck you, and look what he's doing right now with Uruguay. Having a great team. And I think Uruguay is going to win the Copa America. And that's when it comes back when after Leko said how he's disappointed and whatnot. It just all comes down to the Federation.
Yeah, and just to add, Josh, you were saying that Mexico's playing like a U11, U12 team who just playing kickball and doesn't even know what they're doing. I think you're being too nice. My little brother plays on U10, and they can actually play, bro. They actually run plays.
Really?
And what I saw on Sunday and what I've been seeing from the Mexican national soccer team gives me zero confidence. They play scared. They try to play like I'll give you a U6 team. How about that? And they don't look like a team. I look at the players' faces, man. Like after they got scored that second goal, right? I believe it was the 63rd minute, I want to say, by Gio Reyna, which
63rd.
63rd. I said the first goal was not Ochoa's fault. Second goal, that was Ochoa's fault.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
And just the look of defeat on their faces. Just the look on their faces, it's so sad. It's sad. It's like, you're a professional soccer player, guys. Like, this is what you're paid for. And this is what the people buy tickets for. This is what the people tune in to watch on Sunday evening. And this is what the people spend their time on. They want to see a show. They want to see Mexican Warriors. They want to see people going out there and putting it all on the line. Yeah. But unfortunately, this Mexican soccer squad, and in my opinion, for the last few years, I want to say the last 8 years, I have had very little confidence, and I feel like it keeps getting lower, lower, lower. And there is not one player on the team who I can see in the pipelines who's like, you know what, this guy gives me confidence. This guy gives me confidence, and in 2026 in the World Cup, we're going to turn it around. Because if they keep this up, they may not even make it at a group stage.
Yeah.
They may not even make it at a group stage. The future for Mexican national soccer team, for me, is bleak. I don't have a lot of confidence in it. And again, I'm Mexican-American, so I'm always going to go for them. I will always have Mexico in my heart. And I really hope they can turn it around. I don't know how. I mean, there's so many things wrong with the team that in 2 years, can they realistically turn it around? I'm sorry, but I'm going to say no.
So I just want to ask a question. It's been 3 consecutive years that the USA national team has beat Mexico in the finals. So is that USA versus Mexico rivalry still there in the next matchup? Whether it's a friendly, whether it's a tournament, is that do you still think that's a rivalry?
Yeah, it is. I personally still think it is. It's like saying Barca versus Real Madrid. Real Madrid's getting all these talented players. Barca is struggling financially, tactically. Obviously, right now they're winning and whatnot, but it's still a rivalry. At the end of the day, it's still a rivalry. It's Mexico versus the U.S. It's still going to be that hype there.
Okay.
Regardless where Mexico's struggling or not, there's still going to be hype.
So what about the chances, though? Do the chances shift over from being, what it was maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, where it was maybe 50-50. Now it's, maybe it's USA higher, or what are we thinking? I personally, if I answer this question, I would say that it's coming down to USA having the majority of winning games like this when it comes to facing Mexico, and Mexico just being very, at a lower percentage than the U.S. Just because of what has happened these past 3 years.
I agree with you, Josh. Yeah, obviously, I think the United States are going to be more favorites now.
Yeah,
going forward in this rivalry. But let's be real. The United States, when they played Jamaica, they did not play the way they played against Mexico.
Yeah, Jamaica was way more entertaining than fucking Mexico was, dude. And I think that they're going to be way more entertaining for the next year than Mexico will ever be, because if they're not going to do shit about it.
The thing is, the United States always, when it comes to playing against Mexico, and I've noticed this, Mexico does not play well against Jamaica. They win by own goal. Well, they tied in the last minute, and then obviously extra time, they just destroyed Jamaica. But every time they play Mexico, they just have this extra motivation, or they just always want to beat Mexico. But why can't they do that with other teams? That's what I don't get. Obviously, that's another topic for another day. But it's just always with Mexico, they play well. And I honestly, personally don't know what to say, because they play well against Mexico, but with other teams, it's not the United States that we see. Another thing, going back to the first goal. So, Mexico, it was a corner kick, and then Mexico headers it out defensively. It's how Leko brings up. There's no passion. There's no press. There's no nothing. Literally, Antuna pressures Timmy Weah. Timmy Weah distributes it to Tyler Adams. There's literally 6 players at the edge of the 18 box. No one's pressuring. Excuse me, and their goals come in. That just shows what Mexico is, really.
Yeah, that second goal looked like a fucking FIFA goal with the rebounds that there was, and just Reina getting, he got his goal. You got to give him credit for his goal, but obviously that's a goal that probably shouldn't have happened, and most likely won't happen with a goalkeeper maybe like how do you pronounce that name? I don't want to butcher it.
Malagon.
Malagon, yeah. Malagon was in there, probably would have been a different story, and maybe would have been a save. But what were you gonna say, Danny? I see your.
Sorry, I was gonna correct the player that gave Tyler Adams the assist. It was Weston McKennie. Timmy went past it to Weston McKennie, and then literally all the Mexican players were just at the end line of the 18, not doing anything, no press. The only one that pressed was Sanchez. He's the one that pressed, and then obviously Tyler Adams had the shot.
So yeah, no,
that shows a lot.
Yeah, I was talking about the second goal with Gio Reyna.
Yeah,
but
the second goal was just something similar too. They're just standing there. There's no press. There's no anything, and it's gonna be over. Jimmy Lozano, bro. If they do fire him, here's the thing. Hold on, before you criticize him, if they do fire Jimmy Lozano,
that's gonna be the fourth.
The next coach that comes in, it's gonna be the same thing. I'm telling you this. It's gonna be the same thing.
So before Lozano, this was I'm not sure. I think he was the third manager change in 15 months that the Mexican national team has gone through. So he gets fired, which when I was watching the game. I don't know if you guys also heard, but some of the commentators were saying like, "Oh, this game could potentially be like the make or break for him in terms of his career. He might get let go, whatever it is." And as far as that goes, I agree with you, Danny. If they get rid of him, someone else pops in, unless it's Piojo. I don't know what's gonna how that's gonna change as much. Again, it's the federation that has to do a lot. Definitely gonna have to. What am I looking for here? Just commit some more time to some players and just get the best possible lineup that we can get, because right now it's fucking weak as shit. It's not looking good. And just because we're on the term of Lozano, I do want to switch it over to Irving Lozano and just how he played and just the frustration that he showed towards the end of the match. I'm not sure if you guys saw that too, but when the Mexican fans were making these chants and there was that brief pause of time, a camera was panned over to Lozano, and it was basically he was showing like he was sorry, and he was pounding his chest and basically just like, oh, we get it, this isn't our game, we didn't play well. But I don't even think Lozano is worth playing either, dude. I just, with some of the things that he did, he doesn't show how Leko was saying that fucking, that warrior mentality that Mexicans are known for. When, even when it came to like attacking the ball, I saw this pass where they passed him the ball, and I guess he tried feinting, and that way the ball can go past him. And instead what he does is he falls, and it's like, at the end of the day, Lozano knows what he has. He's a speedy player. His pace is insane. He can outrun a lot of players. And when you're facing a U.S. national team that has a lot of taller players, I feel like Lozano can excel in that. But he falls too much, bro. I feel like he just throws himself too much, and it's not showing that passion that Leko was talking about. Just continuing with your fucking run, chasing after the ball, doing everything you can to stay afloat, and maybe get those counterattacks going. But it's just with players like that, it's stupid, dude. They try to go for the foul, they don't get it, and it just ends up like, what are you doing? It looks bad, personally, the way I see it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have anything more to add onto the the whole Mexico situation. And just
before we go, I just thought Chucky did not have sufficient help. He did not have a true 9. So that's why he looked lost. and he was struggling. That's just the way I see it as a football player, football fan. The way I see the game, he struggled because there was no true nine. Who was there to help him? Realistically.
I just want to add, I also agree with everything you guys have said. I don't think the problem is the coach. If you fire Jimmy Lozano, you're going to put someone else in there.
And it's
Guys,
a lot of pressure.
It's the players though. It's the players, and hopefully at this point the federation realizes, we've gone through 4 coaches, we keep losing. So guess what the problem is? It's your players. You need to develop them more. And one more thing, yes, I agree, Danny. I think Chucky didn't have a lot of help up there. Antuna's not going to cut it. Henry Martin's not going to cut it. Santi Jimenez flopping is not going to cut it. That was a huge disgrace, I thought. That looked really bad. And let me say one thing. Let's just look at the squads. You have the U.S. squad, right? Very simple. Where do most of those guys play? In Europe.
In Europe.
In Europe. That's the best of the best. Where do the Mexican players play?
Liga MX.
Liga
Al America, Chivas,
Number one
Cruz Azul,
play
Pumas.
in Europe.
Aside from Santi and
Chavez.
no,
What's the right back?
Chavez too. Chavez
Santi
plays
and Alvarez. Alvarez plays for West Ham.
The right back that plays for where does he play?
Who?
The right back or left back? He used to play for America. Forgot his name.
Okay, well, it's still Liga MX though. Like it's not.
No, he plays for. He plays in Europe.
Jorge Sanchez.
Yeah, Sanchez. There you go, Jorge Sanchez. Thanks, Carlos.
But that's my like that's the takeaway, right? It's like you guys have to develop, not you guys, right? But the federation has to develop the players. And let me tell you something. Liga MX is not going to cut it when some of these guys are going to play in Europe and getting that sort of expertise, those sort of challenges, day to day, practice, games, you name it. It's a whole different level up.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we also got to be realistic and say, you know what, Liga MX, how does it compare to BPL? It doesn't. How does it compare to Serie A? It doesn't. How does it compare to the Bundesliga? It doesn't.
Even the
Right.
Portuguese league. You're 100% right.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
The quality of football is just miles above what those
Right.
other leagues are in, and it's I think a lot of people are going to say it's also due to the corruption and stuff like that, but it's definitely time to wake up and do some shit about it, because I feel like a lot of the fans, we're fucking pissed off. Enough is enough, and they got to switch shit off.
The fans, obviously, they were saying the bad word towards the Mexican fans because when they were losing, there was no urgency whatsoever. I don't know if you guys saw. They were losing 2-0. Ochoa was just strolling. Other players were strolling too. It's like, where's the urgency? 2-0 down. 2-0 down. You can still make a comeback in 15 minutes. Realistically, you can. All you need is one goal, and you're back in the game. So they lack a lot in urgency, and that's all I have to say. And for me personally, it all comes down to the federation and developing players. That's all I have to say about Mexico.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything else to say before we close out? No, we're good. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully the next time we revisit this topic in regards to the Mexican national team, either improvements are happening, someone big is thrown into the team, or just, we get a W against the U.S. national team. But as far as that goes, thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back with a couple more videos the following week.